What is a great TV show that never became popular? Awake. It was a show starring Jason Isaacs where he simultaneously lived in two separate timelines. He was in a car accident with his wife and son. So in one timeline, his son dies, and he still has his wife. But in the other timeline, it's his wife who dies, while his son is still alive. And roughly he swaps between the two timelines when he goes to sleep. He also plays a detective, and that comes into play as the worlds sort of run in parallel, and he uses information from one world to solve crimes in the other. That was kind of an ancillary part of the show, and was just there to give this guy a mission. The show only lasted 13 episodes, but had some serious potential. First, I have to point out that I'm not making this up. Salvage 1. Andy Griffith plays the owner of a salvage yard who, in the first episode, has managed to purchase surplus rocket engines from NASA, which he uses to build his own rocket ship. Why? Because there's valuable salvage in space. He launches the rocket from his salvage yard successfully, collects a dead satellite, returns it to Earth, and melts it down, just as the government agents arrive too late to catch him in the act. After that it's like the Incredible Hulk. Salvage guy flies, while government agents try to catch him. Trust me, as a kid, this was the bomb. Edit, I found the 2-hour pilot on YouTube. Party down. Such a stellar cast, great premise, but got kneecapped when their eventual stars all got bigger gigs. Jane Lynch went on to do Glee, Adam Scott landed his gig on Parks and Rec, and the show ended after 2 seasons. Still one of my favorite comedy shows. Are we having fun yet? Happy endings. A great little comedy that deserved better. Reaper was great, but was cancelled too early unfortunately. Bored to death. Jason Schwartzman, Zach Galifianakis, and Ted Danson. Great chemistry and some hilarious dialogue. This scene in particular always stuck with me. Generation Kill. Great show on HBO. Don't know too many people who've seen it, but they all say it's great, including me. Better Off Ted. I really enjoyed Warehouse 13, but I have not met anyone else who has heard of it. Counterpart, amazing sci-fi / espionage series that lasted 2 seasons at Showtime a few years ago. J.K. Simmons plays a meek, gentle paper pusher at a mysterious company in Berlin who finds out that his organization is actually in charge of communicating with a twin organization in an alternate universe. He then meets his own twin who is an amoral, cynic, calculating assassin. Amazing stuff. Eureka. It was a travesty that it got stuck on sci-fi/sci-fi. If put in the right channel and slot, so people knew it existed, I sincerely think it would have been huge. Travelers. S1 and S3 are stellar, raving reviews too. The shtick where a newly arrived traveler sees undestroyed Earth for the first time and just can't believe it, it's a feeling that nothing else can quite compare to, and I'm getting queasy again just writing about it. Also great characters, just the right mix of clever, but not too serious/heavy, and the whole premise is of course extremely fucking relevant. Pushing Daisies. Got cancelled during the 2007 writers' strike. It's kinda old at this point, but remains one of my favorite all-time shows in all its unfinished glory. Suburgatory was great, and I agree with Dead Like Me too. Also I felt Dollhouse and Firefly didn't get enough recognition. 12 Monkeys. HBO's Corinna Vale, a wonderful and strange Depression-era story about the forces of good and evil as a bunch of carnies make their way through the Dust Bowl. It was tragically cancelled after 2 seasons, but is an absolute must-watch. Jericho, cool premise. Space Above and Beyond, gritty sci-fi is always great. Dead Like Me. Very underrated show. If you've never heard about it, this is all you really need to know to start off. The main character, a young female slacker, gets killed in the first 10 minutes by a toilet seat falling from an abandoned space station that burns up in the atmosphere. She then gets recruited as a reaper. Her job is to basically separate people's souls from their bodies shortly prior to their death, so that they can transition to the afterlife without the trauma of their deaths weighing on their souls. It's a dark comedy that is profoundly deep at times. It also stars Mandy Patinkin in a supporting role. It was a great show. Edit. Wow, this really exploded, didn't it? Erie, Indiana. News radio was a critical darling, but not a big following, but goddamn that show was funny. Then there's stuff like Rubicon, or Lights Out Witch Me, and at most 6 other people were watching. I feel like we should have some sort of support group, but how would we find each other? See Lab 2021, an oft forgotten gem of early Adult Swim. Also, The Brack Show. Grounded for Life. Alton Catch Fire, * called the best show no one ever watched. A period, prestige drama set in the early 1980s-90s about the birth of the personal computing, gaming, and internet ages. The first season is not super great, the second is better, but the third and fourth seasons are about as good as TV gets. It's on Netflix in the US, if anyone wants to give it a go. Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Gallivant. It's a great TV that's like Monty Python meets Broadway, and it's so funny, but it never got love, and barely got a second season. Rectify and Alt and Catch Fire are the 2 incredible dramas I always recommend, that people might have missed. Clone High. Lasting 13 episodes, it had a hilarious, but brief, run on MTV in the early 2000s. Crossing my fingers that the rumors of a possible reboot come true. I thought Journeyman was really solid. Apparently I was alone in that opinion. The Finder, starring Jeff Schultz. Unfortunately it only has 1 season. Home Movies. It was popular enough on Adult Swim back in the early 2000s, but it really was more than good enough for a primetime TV slot. Lauren Bouchard, the creator of Bob's Burgers, made the show with Brendan Small, who then created Metalocalypse. H. John Benjamin got his start on Home Movies as Coach McGurk, I'm pretty sure. It was pure gold, but I guess didn't have the same draw as Family Guy, and whatever else was huge at the time. Raising Hope. The Nick. Really enjoyed it, and just found out they're bringing it back for season 3. Patriot. Fantastic slow burn dark comedy spy show. Available on Amazon Prime, and a podcast just started to give some ancillary fun. Edit. Black Sails. Love me a good *GOLDEN Age of Piracy show. Leverage. Limitless on CBS. Only got 1 season for such reason, plus CBS wanting to put more room for other stuff. Update. Wow, thanks for the awards and upvotes. Most I've ever gotten. If only the show could continue with this high amount of upvotes. Legion was one of the most creative shows I've ever seen, but barely anyone knows about it. It lasted 3 good seasons, all of which are very diverse. It might be the best superhero TV show ever. But half the time people think I'm talking about that old Paul Bettany film. Hell on Wheels is a seriously slept on show. It was on AMC at the same time as Breaking Bad, and when The Walking Dead was at its peak, so it got shoved under the rug. The Killing. Gallivant was one of my favorite shows during its run. It was this light, quirky fantasy musical on network TV. It was a miracle it got to 2 seasons. It felt like Mel Brooks got tapped to remix Princess Bride and Monty Python. If it came out after Hamilton, the musical hype might have put some more wind in its sails.